Boom. Hey, welcome, everybody. Super excited to spend some time with you tonight here. If I could get a little bit of information before we get started, I would love that. First off, where are you logging in from? So type in the chat bar, where in the world. I think we're probably hitting 10 plus different countries right now, and sure the heck all over the United States. Also, if your camera's not on, love to have your camera on if it could be on and we could see you. Okay, we got Australia here. And where else do we got? Colorado, South Dakota. Hey, Andrea, nice to see you. I don't see a baby, so it looks like you might be getting a break for a moment, which no break. Okay, no breaks for moms. Okay, Canada, and can't go wrong with Howell, New Jersey, right? Right around the corner from Seaside Park where we live. I'm sure we'll have more people join us, but I'm not worried about anybody else right now except you. Except you. And if that's okay, that I just be concerned about you and getting you things answered. Can you just give me a boom in the chat bar? A boom in the chat bar? It also is helpful for me as I'm framing these answers. Um, are you new to my world, or how long have you been in my world? So why don't you go in the chat bar? And if you're brand new, like this is one of the first times, or maybe you've been on one other thing, type in new. If you've been in my world a year, 6 months, or a while, type in a little while in the chat bar. This way I know what value to communicate and how long you've been in the world. Because if I talk at too high of a level, and you haven't been in my world, I'll run you over. If I talk too low, for those of you been in my world, you might get bored. So I got to find a great line there. Okay, David, brand new, welcome. Super excited to have you here. And David, if I'm correct, you're in Howell, so you sure the heck know my company gold medal that I grew and sold. Uh, Andrea, definitely a little while. Okay, great. The other thing that's helpful for me is, and I'll make it a very vague bracket so you feel comfortable doing it. Um, if you're under $1 million, just give me a smile face or something in the chat bar. If you're 1 to 5 million, give me 2 smile faces. And if you're over 5 million, give me 3 smile faces. Do you got it? Under one, a smile. 1 to 5, 2 smiles. Over 5, 3 smiles. Okay, so perfect. We got a lot of 1 smiles here. Well, then you're in the right damn place here, because I know exactly how you feel. I know how you feel because I've been there many times. Since a lot of you have been in my world a while and some of you are new, I would like to just share a couple things with you. My answers are based off of, hey, Mr. Dave Dolick, nice to see you. My answers are based off of scaling first one really big service company, which is in the state of New Jersey, and we had 165 trucks, 200 employees, did 34,000 customers a year, 32 million a year, tracking for 40 million, and I sold it in 2017. So part of my experience is marketing, sales, operation systems, what it takes to scale. Part two of my experience, because that was fun, but it's kind of easy, and some of you are like, it's not easy, and I get it. But it became kind of easy for me to grow the one. But then I grew a coaching company called CEO Warrior, and I coached over 1,000 business owners. Now that takes real skill because you're working with business owners all over. And I mean, we had Australia, Canada, New Zealand, the UK. And every company has a slightly little different thing. It's not a one size fits all. It's never been that way. It's your business and what you need to make you grow to where you want to go. Okay, so that's my second part of experience I'm going to bring to these questions, which a lot of people have sent in amazing questions. The third part of the experience is what's been happening since 2020. Everything from 2020 before, the two companies that did over 500 million, that was warm up for me. And so now I'm really warmed up because the last 5 years, we have been working in 120 different industries, everything from cybersecurity to IT to doctors that do hormone, cell nutrition, to martial arts schools, to coaches, to auto mechanic shops, and the list goes on and on. So the last 5 years, I've taken all that experience and now look through a whole completely set of lenses. And now I know the formulas, and that's where my answers are going to come from. Because if I was you, it'd be like, Mike, where are you getting the answers from? Did you just pick it up on podcast? Did you read a lot of books? Did you do YouTube trainings? And yes, I've done a lot of that too. But it's what I call wisdom, right? And there's a difference between knowledge and wisdom. ChatGPT is knowledge, and your experience is wisdom. I would love for you to make sure you have a fresh sheet of paper for yourself. And on the fresh sheet of paper, I want you to look at every question and ask yourself, how does that question apply to me? Not to me, to you, right? How does that question apply to you? And you'll find out that if you sit in a space of non-distraction and you shut off your electronics just for a moment and you stop nursing on Facebook. I made that funny for you, Andrea. I just put nursing in on it. You stop Instagramming and all that stuff. You stop worrying about your email. I promise all that's going to be there when we're done tonight. And if you just flip your phones over a minute and just focus right now on what's the answer to the question and how could that apply. Now I have a funny feeling why we don't have 50 people here is because we got so many questions set in. I think they just want the answer, but we don't have a plan on giving this as a replay after it. Maybe we'll do some auto replays on Facebook at weird times, but I plan on just giving the answers for you guys. So if you're ready to get started, why don't you give me a big boom in the chat bar? And I'm going to bring up, we got some cool people on here. We got my beautiful wife, Jen is on here. And we got a business partner and best friend, Aaron, on here. And we got Megan, one of our incredible team members, on here. And so they'll all be filling in some notes in the chat bar to help you keep up. But I asked Aaron to do me a favor and get all these questions. So I'm going to allow him to ask me the question, and then I'm going to go give you an answer. Now, in order for me to know you're having a breakthrough and getting value, it would be critical for your own personal growth inside of you is as you have a breakthrough or the answer resonates, type it in the chat bar, okay? Because I'm going to be working off of this energy field of what I'm saying and what you're telling me in the chat bar. Is that fair? Can you type in fair in the chat bar? And then, hey, we'll have a good time for a while here. And I do have, and you know what? We're going to go for at least an hour. How many of you are committed to the whole hour? Type in committed. And if any of you have to leave earlier, can you type in leave early? Just so I know, because I want to make sure, depending on questions, I don't miss any of you. So we got, looks like everybody is pretty much committed here. Have to leave about 5:30. Okay, no problem. So why don't I do this part real quick? So if anybody leaves, you'll get this, okay? Tomorrow, and then we'll get into questions. I say we dig into some questions, okay? Let's dig into some questions and have some fun. So Aaron, I hope you got a good one for me. Give me the first big question. I'm going to knock it out of the park for everybody.
Yeah, I've got some great questions for you, Mike. It was really hard to pick the first one. And at first I was going to go easy on you. And then I was like, no, there's no way I'm going easy on you. I'm bringing out, that's right. I'm bringing out the tough questions right from the beginning. So I'll throw it in the chat bar so everyone can see it as well. But the question is, what should I be doing right now to make sure my business survives the next 5 to 10 years? What should I be doing right now to make sure my business survives the next 5 to 10 years?
All right, everybody. So I love this question. What should I be doing right now to make sure my business survives the next 5 to 10 years? Okay. So if you look, and I didn't create this phrase, but I do want to share it with you. There's this phrase, don't be better than better, be different. And in the most of the industries, I'm going to say almost every industry, unless it is a brand new technology of some kind, everybody, like, let's use a service company because I know service companies. I mean, I coached 1,000 of them. I think I know them better than most people in the world today. And if you look at a service company, they're all kind of the same thing, right? They have a truck, they have a van. One guy has a duck on it, another one has a dog, another one has a light bulb, right? But they all just look a little better than the other person. There's no major difference, so there's no real standout factor. It's just you're an electrician and or you're a plumber, and I'm now comparing plumber to plumber, and both of you fix pipes, and you probably have pricing and stuff like that. So if you don't figure out a way to be completely different. Now in today's world, to be different could be as simple as building authority. And I will share the thing that makes me scratch my head every day is the gift about social media is that it created the ultimate equalizer. It really did. A one person company can look like an Inc. 5000 company, which we got Inc. 5000 for last year. We're super proud of that. But like if you look at us on the internet and someone else, or one plumbing company, another, or one HVAC company and another HVAC, I mean, I did 19 million in HVAC, right? Alone. And if you look at that and you got one person that does 500,000 a year, they could build their website to look exactly the same way. So technology has created the ultimate equalizer. But where a lot of people are not leveraging it is they're not creating ultimate authority. Today you could become, now tell me in the chat bar, everybody. Is Dr. Phil really a better doctor than your doctor? Tell me in the chat bar. Is he? No, but he's an authority because he's on TV and he has exposure. So number one strategy I would say, and um, it's like Dean Jackson, a very, very good friend of mine, a very smart marketer. If anybody knows Dean, type in Dean in the chat bar. I think he's the first one I heard it from. He said, when's the best time to plant an oak tree? 25 years ago or today? So a lot of people don't plant the authority. And then what happens is then they need it and try to plant it, but they lost momentum. It's also not something that gives you fruit right away. And even when I go back, and I don't want it to be about me, but I have to share examples because I'm sharing wisdom off my own experience. When I go back 20 years ago, 15 years ago, and I'm building authority, I'm a nobody out there. I was calling myself the business ninja, matter of fact, which was kind of cool back then. But now, all these years later, right? Lisa, doing YouTube videos back when I was really horrible on camera. I still don't think I'm incredible on camera. And then I wrote my first book, Secrets of Business Mastery. Did anybody ever read that book? Type in secrets if you read it. If not, it's still an incredible book. And that was just the start. But like years after, now I think I have 28 or 30 books I've written, from leadership to communication to mind power. A matter of fact, has anybody here not read Mind Power? Type in Mind Power if you've never read it, and I'll make sure the team gets you a free copy of it. I think a lot of the world has already read it. At least my mind says that. So I would tell you, to survive the next 5 or 10 years, start building authority. Build authority. Number two, with authority, start building your email database. I still can't believe businesses today, and we work with a lot of businesses. We own a lot of businesses. We have different partnerships and things in businesses. I'm still completely shocked in 2025 when I ask an owner, how many emails do you have? And they're in business for 3 years, 5 years, 25 years, and they have a very small amount of emails. And I just had the reminder the other day. I was reading a book, and it was a great reminder. You know the one, and I hope this clicks for you. And when something clicks, can you type in boom in the chat bar when it clicks? And I'm going to give you one of those to type it now. You know the number one advantage of email? Here's the number one advantage. Facebook can't shut it down. YouTube can't change the algorithms. Instagram cannot decide if they want your email or don't want it, right? TikTok can't touch it. You own your emails. Can I get a boom in the chat bar? Because if you are not making that your focus, and it could be the number one thing that helps you scale over the next 5 or 10 years, is having those emails. Now it's a whole nother strategy on how you get emails and how do you leverage them and nurture them and stuff. We can do 5 hours on that alone. So that's the one thing. The next thing is innovation. I know if you want to make it 5 or 10 years or greater, we work, and a lot of people that enter our world, they're under $1 million, they're a family business, they're one person either in an office, one person in a truck, and they can never see the future, right? Because they really don't know how to innovate. And or their innovation is, and I want you to write this down, and I want you to ponder this over the next couple of days. Are you doing the right things at the right time? And a lot of people are doing exactly the right things at the wrong time. I see it every day. People are like, "Oh, I'm doing TV," and I'm like, "You're a couple $1 million. Don't why? I'm doing billboard. Why? I don't even understand why you're doing this. You're doing it because you're watching someone else, a competitor out there, and you're thinking because they do it and they're winning, that's why they're winning. But that's probably not why they're winning. It's not. There's a whole bunch of stuff hidden behind the curtain that's really helping them win. So with innovation, you want to innovate in a way that makes sense, and you want to do the right strategy at the right time. This one is going to be the next boom, but some of you are new and you're not even ready to. I'm going to pre-frame and ready you for this. You're not even ready for this strategy I'm going to share, but the sooner you get ready, and Aaron, and I think my team knows what I'm going to launch down right now. When we do our business planning here at Food Dog every year, we reevaluate our 1,000-year plan for Food Dog. 1,000-year plan. And you're thinking 1,000 years, this is insane. But do you know that I'm pretty sure still around today, there's multiple businesses around over 1,000 years. And there was a lot of businesses around 1,000 years. Who is that? Tell me in the chat bar. Is that mind blowing for you? A business around 1,000 years. But here's the thing that happens. Justin, when you think your business 1,000 years out, you have to start thinking on a level that expands your thinking. I mean, are you pretty sure? Is anybody thinking in 1,000 years we won't be interstellar? I mean, what the heck? They're already going to Mars. They're planning to go to the moon, or already were there and going back. We know we're going to be interstellar. We know that I'm already planning, like, how do we market Food Dog on Mars and the moon? And when you can think this stuff, now you might go back. Actually, I'm going to share a picture tomorrow. And how many of you actually are from the day you wore a beeper? Were any of you from the day you wore a beeper? Let me fight. Some of you on here, I could see you. You're young. You don't even know what a beeper is. You saw it on the Discovery Channel, and that's the only reason why you know what it is. And maybe I'm dating myself now. My sister had a beeper. Okay. But if you look at this picture, I was going to share it tomorrow, and it triggered it. If you look at this, there I am, the big old blueprint. Clearly it was cold, and there is a beeper, right? That's a beeper. And back when there was a time with beepers, you couldn't even comprehend a phone that you can video communicate across the world. You had no comprehension of that. If I'm not dating myself enough, except for the Jetsons. Who remembers the Jetsons? Anybody? Okay, a very few of you here, very few. But you thought of that on there, but you never comprehended it. So the last thing I'm going to give you, because as Aaron knows, I can go on about how to win 5 or 10 years. We could do days on this. But the last thing I'll tell you about it is that you need to think about not what is now, what is possibly coming. And ChatGPT and AI has already proved this whole new dynamic. And I remember a day where my mom still didn't trust Google. How about you guys? Some of you probably still don't even trust Google, right? Or what about your mom who was on like AOL and dial up and like just couldn't, your mom couldn't even figure out like that ding, 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 whatever noise it made, right? But here we are today. You're watching me over Zoom all over the damn globe. So I would think what is coming, and the last part I would say is you have to be around people that are thinking that way. If your business is only going to level up above. So if you look at this, right? If you look at this realm here where my hands are, and everybody in your realm, your friends, your family, your BNI group, your EO groups, all your different groups you hang around, and if they're all surfacing around this same level, what do you think that means for your business in the future? Tell me in the chat bar. Well, the chances of you breaking through that level is slim and none. Not because you're not all smart here, it's just because you're all thinking the same way. And when you move yourself, and it takes bravery to do that, when you move yourself into a realm of where you could actually say, and I love this quote, you guys tell me in the chat bar if you love it. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong what? Get answer it. You're in the wrong damn room. So if you're the one bragging to everybody and you're the one with all the ideas, you're in the wrong room, and you're gonna level out at that. So Aaron, did I do a good job on that? Otherwise, let's go to the next one.
You did a great job. You did a really great job. All right. Next question is, and actually I love it because as you're answering the question, I'm seeing which question I should be picking next because
Hmm.
they tie together. So this question came from someone and I'm really excited about it. And the question is, I'll throw it in the chat bar again, everyone. What advice, there we go. What advice do you have for creating a brand that both feels deeply personal but is also structured so it can scale into a bigger business later? So, like, is it Mike
Hmm.
Aguilera or is it Food Dog Group? Or how can both work together? Is it the Business Ninja or is it, CEO
Hmm.
Warrior and so on? How do those work together?
All right, awesome, everybody. Let me repeat the question so I make sure it sinks very deep into my mind. So it's what advice do you have for creating a brand that feels deeply personal but is also structured so it can scale into a bigger business? If you guys love this question, can you type in "love it" in the chat bar? And so this was a big catalytic change for me, and I never heard anybody talk about it because everybody that I was surrounded around and the books I read and everything were talking about brand. And when they would talk about brand, it was always about the vehicle. And when they talked about it in the world I was at first in the service industry, they made it sound like the logo in the truck was the brand, which was the first delusion of everything. And because everything is your brand, at everything you see, hear, feel, say, the way you answer your phone's your brand, the way you respond to online chat is your brand, everything. But then someone said to me that the most powerful brands normally have two brands. They have a personal brand and they have a business brand. Now, later I learned how important this was to build both brands together. Because when you sell a company, if you make that your only brand, well, then you could build another brand someday, but you have no authority out there. But if you build your personal brand as an authority, and let me give you a real example how I did this. And I did it, Justin, to have a very critical competitive, I would say, strategy at the time. So at the time, in New Jersey, when I was building my service company, and if anybody's ever been to New Jersey, you might remember this. I had a personal, I mean, I had a business brand. It was gold medal, plumbing, heating, cooling, electric, drain cleaning, one day bathroom solutions, basement waterproofing, indoor air quality, water filtration, right? And that was part of our overarching brand of everything that we did. But I had companies coming in. It was like attacking us, right? Trying to knock us down because we were scaling so fast. I mean, we grew by 6.5 million one year. I bought 22 Sprinter trucks in one year. I understood. I mean, I hired, I think, 50 or 60 new team members in a year. I understand how to scale. And it's interesting because how many of you ever said this to yourself? Even if you wanted, you didn't say it out loud, you thought of it. Let's see who will be honest today. Big company, big problems. Have any of you ever said that? I'm looking if there's any nodding and stuff. But here's what I will tell you. It's big company, big money. It's only problems for the stuff you don't know how to do. So I came up with a strategy, and they used to have people on the radio, and they called themselves the Jersey Boys. And I thought, well, if customers are going to buy a brand, I bet they'll buy a brand with a voice backing it up. So guess what I did? I went to my partner and said, "We're going to be the Jersey Boys. We were born in Jersey. We live in Jersey. We're Jersey through and through." So we went out there with our business brand. And who else were you going to hire? The Jersey Boys, two Italian guys from New Jersey. Okay, little secret. I do have some Polish and Megan, some German, and maybe some other stuff. But I kind of call myself on the Italian side. Okay. So if you look at the strategy here, is I would guide all of you to build a personal brand and a business brand. And what's the overarching? So since I don't want to crank up my tablet, I'm going to air draw with my hands. You're going to love it. Okay. So here we go. Ready? Personal brand. Here we go. Business brand. You know what the bridge between them is that creates the superpower? Anybody want to guess in the chat bar? It's called your values. Your values. And when you connect your values between the personal brand and the business brand, you will have a superpower, not only for now, because some of you might want to see, we're different than a lot of companies. And since we're the coach to the coaches today, we understand a lot of differences that many people just don't understand. We're not in the business of Food Dog on getting people to scale and just sell their companies. Some people want that. Some people actually, is anybody here want to hand the company down to their family if they want it? Type in family if you do. And that's perfectly fine. Some of you love what you do so much, you just want it to give you the best quality of life. And you want that to take you to the promised land when you're done someday. And if you're one of those people that love what you do so much, you just want to do it forever until you're done, and then someone else takes it over, just put $signs in the chat bar. That's us. We want to do this, what we're doing forever, and take it to the promised land someday, and someone else takes it on once we vanish from the planet. So it could go 1,000 years or more, right? And then does that make sense, what I'm saying here? Why don't we pause 1 minute here, and why don't you type in the chat bar, what is something that you just heard, an answer to one of the questions that you're like, I'm gonna focus on that more, or I'm gonna think about that, or you're gonna put it in action. So go ahead, I'm gonna get a drink. You type in the chat bar, go to your notes, circle something, and write it down so I know that we're doing things here. All right, values, yeah. That's one thing that for us, David, is real important, is values. Like, my wife, our team, our family, we're very health minded, right? Matter of fact, I think we only have two types of cleaning things in the house. Anybody else? We have alcohol and vinegar. Anybody else only clean with alcohol and vinegar? Is just a, but because I don't want to be poisoned by Lysol, and even though I got plenty of Lysol from being a kid, that was my mom and dad's superpower, was the old Lysol big can, right? It's you were sick, Lysol will fix your ass, man. That thing will kill cockroaches and everything. And so, but we know our values, right? We also know when we do events, we know our values. Like, we don't have events, and we're okay, you guys do what you want to do, everybody. But at our events, We don't have alcohol. We don't do drugs at those things, right? We don't believe the best things happen at the bar. We believe it happens in the environment there where we all support each other. Again, knowing our values. So let's see what you have here. Um, my values are the bridge between personal and business brand. Beautiful, Andrea. And then we got another one. Values are the bridge. Good. Big company, big money. Yeah. And but when you get around certain vibration of people, they want to tell you how you should feel, and then based on what they say is how you choose to if you choose to own that as an identity, right? Like, it's hard to make money. No, it's not. It's just different than what you're doing now. And nothing, and you should write this down. Um, Nothing's difficult. It's just different. And as soon as you figure out how to do different, it's no longer difficult. How do I know? Well, at one time you couldn't walk, and one time you couldn't go to the bathroom by yourself, and one time you couldn't drive and ride a bicycle, and eventually you did, and the difficult just become different. So I have a quote. It's not a quote. It's really a thinking I have. Would you like my thinking? If I feel it would be profound for you, can I share you my thinking? Type in thinking. Here's what I do when I have a thought, and I still do it today. When I have a thought about something, Justin, I say to myself this: whose thought is that? Okay, let me say it again. Whose thought is that? Is that my mom's thought? Is that my dad's thought? Was that my friend's thought? Was that my struggling business owner friend's thought? Was that my community's thought? Or was it really my thought? And my second question is, do I still want that thought? Do I still want that thought? Because a lot of times you're thinking of a thought. How many of you would be honest? You say something to your kids and you go, oh my God, that sounded like your dad. Or you say something and you're like, that sounded just like my mom. Has that ever happened for you? Tell me in the chat bar. I know it has, right? You get that kind of like that, what the heck just went down there? All right. So that is my answer for that one. Aaron, for timing. I know we have a lot of questions and I want to go as strong as we can. So let's unload our next question.
Cool. Okay, awesome. Yeah, great question. And it inspired me for this next question, which is, what's the one system or process every business should put in place first if they want to scale?
Um, the one system. So what is the one system everybody should put into to scale? I feel the system that everybody should put in place to scale is the system of, it's not going to be what you think. It's going to be better than what you think. It's going to be the system of actually how to build systems. That's it. How to build processes. Because if you want to write down a phrase, processes equal profit. And the system that people seem to not have is, first, how to build, how do you build a system. The second thing is how to implement it or integrate it into a company. They go out there and they force it upon them. And I'm no different than you. I was just very forceful. Today, you're going to start parking trucks this way, gassing them up this way, and wear your uniform this way. And don't you dare not do it, right? So, system by force and not by process. But if you have a system, which I would challenge all of you, how many, do any of you have managers? Type in managers. Do you have managers? Um, if you have managers or not, I'll tell you what, if you just put in one system in your business, now the system should solve the number one issue, Tim, you're dealing with. It should solve that. And it should solve the number one problem you have. If you did one system per week, you would have put in 52 systems in your company in a year. Your company will run completely different than you could even imagine. Now, if you have one manager and the owner and the manager put just one system in per week, you put 104 systems in your company in 1 year. It changes everything. How do I know? Well, because if you don't have systems, you have consequences. And you guys all know what that is. If you don't have a system to check your emails that they went out, or the open rate of email, or your funnel, or your meta ads, or your Google ads, or whatever you're doing, if you don't have a system to check it, well, then one day you'll probably wake up and find out it's broken or not delivering. If you don't have a system to measure cash flow, or a system on how, another one that we're noticing, because we work with business owners every week. Um, Forget about when I sold in 2020. We've been working with business owners every week for the last 5 years straight. And I still find out they either don't have a P&L, right? They don't have numbers. Number two, they have numbers and don't know how to read it. And number three, they have numbers. Not only do they not know how to read it, they don't ever ask questions or make decisions on it. And it's probably none of you at all. So what I would challenge all of you to do is build the system that helps you build systems in your company. And once you have that, implement it and integrate it. The other thing is, a lot of people, and Aaron, the question might be coming up. They don't ask me, like, what are the most critical things like someone should have in place if they want to sell their company someday and raise the value of the company. And systems are one of the number one things. Do you know why systems are so important when someone buys a company? Because they already have processes in place. So when I sold my service company, and I hope it's okay I share. Can I share this? Type in share it, please. When I sold my service company, 32 million, tracking 40 million, double digit profit, 200 employees, 165 trucks. I signed my name and I walked away the next day. Never went back again. Never had to go back. I didn't have to stay on. There wasn't an earnout. It's pretty phenomenal to do that. For some of you that know, can you type in phenomenal? If you don't know how to spell that, just give me a boom, because I'm not sure I could spell phenomenal. But Justin looks like he nailed it. But why is that? Because the company was system run. And when they did the tour before they bought it, I just said, here's our book of systems. Matter of fact, we called it the Gold Medal Way because the company was Gold Medal Service. So we said, this is the book that runs the company. It's called the Gold Medal Way. It's exactly how we do everything, from hiring to training to marketing to sales to operations to system to analyzing numbers to running our team leaders to managing our organizational chart, accountability chart. So how many of you are just slightly excited about what I said, and you're going to now create a system to build your systems and get at least one done a week, maybe just for the rest of the year? Give me something in the chat bar so I know that you're committed to it. A lot of you will commit, but some of you you'll start and then you'll stop. And I have a phrase I want you to write down and maybe repeat it as a mantra for yourself, because we find out that a lot of businesses we work with, when they take on this mantra, everything changes. Get started, stay started. So if you're going to get started on processes, stay started on processes. If you're going to get started on systems, stay started on systems. Okay, so if you like that mantra, type in mantra in the chat bar, and then I can't wait because you're going to come back and say. Now, any of you that have done our business power training, we did do an SOP training. I think it was 2 days on nothing but systems and processes. It was phenomenal. Is anybody at that? Type in SOP. But when we do business power next week over the 3 days, okay, we will tackle systems and we'll show you not only how to build systems the way we think about it, we'll show you how to build it, log it, implement it, and integrate it. So I hope some of you that are on, you'll enjoy that section and will help. This will be a nice doorway into that. All right, Aaron, man, we're 46 minutes in already, everybody. Has this been a quick 46 minutes? Type in quick in the chat bar. Has it been quick? Yeah, just like the training next week. We're going to hit it for 3 days straight. You're going to blink your eyes. You're going to evolve as a business owner over that business power training. Like it'll be over better than an MBA in training and business in 3 days from your couch or your business. The best part about that training next week, you could put your managers right on it with you. Because that's what, remember I told you? This is the last trainings this year for people to join it and just do a training alone. Next year, it's, you know what we're doing, right? It's going to be only for companies we're working with. And the reason why is because they want their managers on the training. Because if the owner's growing alone, and I want you to write this down, if the owner is growing alone in their company, they're growing apart from the company. If the owner is growing alone in the company, they're growing apart in the company. When the owner grows together with the people in the company grows up and becomes bigger and more fun. And then you get rid of that big company, big problems, and you go into big company, big opportunities. Boom. All right, Aaron, let's man, and I know I'm answering probably a lot of other questions he has, so I'm giving him a lot of hard work right now to pick the next question. So give it to me.
Yeah, you are giving some hard work. But I think this one's going to build off of the last question. So the question is, I'm seeing people exit in my industry. I'm not ready yet, but what should I be thinking about for the future?
Okay. You should rub your hands together because this is going to be great. So the question is, I'm seeing people exit in my industry and I'm not ready yet, but what should I be thinking? Here's what you should be thinking. You should be thinking, how does it change the geographic landscape of your company? And it does change things. It does change things. If you look at people that are being acquired, P firms, M&A firms, they're buying up companies in your market. And can anybody relate? Can you type in market in the chat bar if you saw this happening in different industries? It was a big, what we call roll up, the HVAC, plumbing, electrical, and huge. Now we're moving into they're all chewing on the roofing industry now. That's another one. There was the auto mechanic industry. Then there was the agency industry. There's always a cycle of something that they're building together and building and combining to exit bigger again. When I look at the landscape of what's happening, I look at first, there's an opportunity. And one of the greatest opportunities that happens when this happens in your market is recruiting incredible, incredible people to join your company. You know why? People don't like turbulence. They just don't. I know that. I've been through multiple exits and they don't like turbulence. They don't like change and they don't want a new leader to come in. They like you as a leader. You're the owner. And when a new sheriff comes in town, they're not sure they like that sheriff. Can you relate? Type in relate in the chat bar. So when you know that, one, when P or they're acquiring companies, it's recruiting frenzy. It's time for you to tell everybody. Now there's always, always, always a positioning. When I was a small company, my positioning for recruiting, you know what it was? It was, you want to work for a big company and just be a number? Why would you ever want to do that? Come work here where everybody knows your name. That's a good position, right? Give me a boom in the chat bar. When I was a big company, you know what I said? You want to work for a small company? How long do you think they'll be around? Give me another boom in the chat bar. Just so you know, no matter what size you are, there is a positioning to win. There's always a strategy and always a tactic. Always a tactic. Now, the other thing to do is, and there's a strategy for this. I've been calling it the sea of yellow for a very, very long time. When they're coming in and combining things, remember what I said when we started today? You definitely don't want to be better than better. You got to be so different. And so there's a strategy when this is happening to make yourself very different. Now, some of you may have heard this before, but it's worth hearing it again. If you have a football field and you fill this football field with all yellow balls, you know, the little ball pit, like kids jump in it and stuff, and you look out there, all you would see is what? Type in the chat bar, yellow. That's all you would see. But if I took one black ball, right, Justin, and I threw the black ball in the middle, and you looked out in the sea of the yellow, what would you see? You wouldn't see yellow, you'd see the black ball. And when you're competing in this very economic combination of people buying companies, you need to become the black ball. The other thing, and we'll cover this through business power training too, is most people do not know the competitive landscape. They think the competitive landscape is that company charges less or that company charges more, right? The big company says they're charging too little. The little company says they're charging too much. Both companies can feel any way they want. But when you look at the competitive landscape of it, you can make a decision, not how to compete, how to scale within that. But you have to know a lot of the dynamics that are happening. You got to know what is the reason why they're even buying all these companies. Why are they combining all of these companies together? I loved it when it was happening in my market, and it didn't happen once. I was through, well, let's see. I started my company in I think it was 1992 when I started my electrical contracting company only. So I think I've been through three cycles of, let's call it, acquisitions and acquiring. The first cycle, I didn't know any different. I was small. I'm me and my partner driving in one van and wiring houses and commercial buildings and Wendy's and TGI Fridays and stuff. We don't know any different. The second one I watched happen, I watched them acquiring it, and I noticed that they weren't bidding on the stuff we were bidding on. They had a whole totally different landscape of what they were going for. Once I looked at the landscape, that they were going for the residential market service, because in the residential service they pay you now, right? Versus commercial and retrofits I was doing, they always made me wait 90 days, 120 days. And how many of you just hate to get paid? Tell me in the chat bar, right? You just, like, no one wants to wait to get paid. You want to deliver your service and get paid, right? That's what makes the world turn. But the third time, I noticed how to play the game and how what they were looking for the landscape. So I got to be strategic and dominate that landscape. So those are some of the things, yeah, that I would do. So Aaron, let's see what this last one is, and then I'll let everybody know if I feel we could. If you guys came with a specific question, I can't promise we'll tackle it. Type in your specific question in the chat bar. I'll decide if I could answer it here or I'll get you some kind of answer later. But till then, while you're typing, if you don't put one in, I'm going to assume that our questions are answering a whole lot of stuff. And why don't you tell me in the chat bar, are our questions that people sent in, are they answering things for you that you didn't even know to ask? Give me a boom or something in the chat bar, because I know that happens for me when I'm on stuff too. Okay, good, great. Then we're knocking out of the park and we're helping you. We're helping you. And that was our, I wish we had thousands of people on here, but that's what our intention was, to answer questions and really do it as affordable as possible for you, which, if you're on here, this was no cost, even though I have people pay me $10,000 an hour for specialty coaching to solve something.
Great. Stand by, everyone, for 1 second. I think Jennifer froze up as well, so there's clearly a Wi-Fi issue in the Aguilera household, but I'm sure they'll be back in just 1 minute. But he looks like he's in the middle of a profound thought, so we'll give him 1 second to come back here. There we go. They're off. That's always a good sign. And then they'll be coming back on shortly. Dave Dolek, haven't seen you in a bit. Hope you're doing really well, man. Great to see you. Thank you for hosting me. Let me just see if Mike is messaging me. Okay. Cool. Well, I'm going to keep going here until he comes back. So let me see here. I'm going to grab another question and I'll just keep going until we see Mike come back. So one of the questions is, what's the biggest shift in business that business owners need to know about right now? And one of the shifts that we're seeing, obviously, is AI. And if you guys have noticed AI shifting in your own business and marketplace, and maybe with competitors, throw AI in the chat bar. That is a huge shift in business that everyone needs to know about. Yeah, AI, for sure, for sure. And maybe it doesn't affect you. Maybe you're not using it. Maybe you are using it. But AI, DaveBot.ai. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Um, so it's interesting because on the spectrum of AI, we get some people who are like, no, I don't. I think AI is bad. I don't like it, and even though my competitors are using it, I don't want to use it. And on the other side of the spectrum is I'm all in on AI, and so there's kind of these different sides of the spectrum. And we really find that oh, hey Jennifer, I see you're coming on, and I'm sure Mike is coming on shortly. I just decided to grab another question and keep answering it until you guys reset your Wi-Fi or whatever happens.
Yes.
Good. Okay. So for us, we don't want to shy away from AI, but we also think it's not like the magic wand that a lot of people seem to feel that it is. And so the way we're approaching AI is with we're seeing it as a tool, but always more importantly with the element of HI in there as well. Human intelligence. So AI, artificial intelligence, is a valuable tool, but we always we're using it to leverage it to get deeper research, but we're always applying HI, human intelligence, both before when we're creating a prompt or using a specific AI tool, and then after we get the result, applying HI, human intelligence, to make sure that we're reviewing and fact checking and leveling up the result that we get out of AI. So we do see AI as a valuable tool, but it is only a tool, just like a screwdriver or a computer. It's only as good as the user, and on its own, it's not something we would rely on or trust, but it is something that we leverage for sure. And Mike's back. That's awesome. Hey, Mike, I just answered a question about what should business owners be aware of, but I have a question for you.
That
Let
is
me just run
perfect.
back and grab it.
Yeah. And we don't want that, everybody, to happen tomorrow morning when I'm talking to 400 or 500 people. So,
No, we don't.
yeah, yeah, damn optimum down here at the Jersey Shore. We do not want to experience that tomorrow. So, all right, I say, Aaron, let's
Yep.
tackle one more of the very best questions we have, and then we'll put a ribbon around this because clearly the energy is so high from all these people. The optimum
Yeah,
wants by
that's
backing
right.
off of it.
All right. So the question here, I think it's a great question. And actually, I think the question is almost too small. So I hope you take it, run with it at the higher level that I think you and I would want it to be answered. And so the question it was actually originally, how much should I be investing in my own personal training? But I think there's a bigger question there that you probably would answer.
Yeah, wow. Okay, so let me repeat the question. How much should you be investing in your own personal training? I have found out, now I've been investing since I'm 15 years old in my own personal training. I don't know if anybody else been a martial artist, but I've been a martial artist for over 40 years now. I've been on my own since I'm 15, so I've been paying for my own martial arts education since I'm 15 years old. And once I found out, now when I started business and I started electrical contracting business, I was really what you would call just a blue collar tradesperson. I thought the winner of the game was the person in my world, which was electrical. The person who was the best at the code book was the champion, right? The person who knew how to wire the building the best was the champion. And it was only until I found out that I needed to learn completely different than the way I was learning. I needed to find, and this was the first thing, I went to visit a company. And when I was still working in the field, and this is a good story for you guys to really listen deeply to, I was still wiring homes and I went to visit a company, and this company was so impressive. They were amazing. Their shop was clean. It was another electrical company. It was huge. and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. But there was one big difference. Justin, I was an electrician and he was a business owner. And that was a critical difference in thinking from being an electrician to being a business owner. Once I figured that out, I started to invest in myself because I learned that I didn't know marketing. I didn't know sales. I didn't know operations. I mean, I was selling stuff and doing jobs, but I did it as a like kind of like a hobbyist and not as a master. As soon as I started to see that investing more in myself started to move me forward, it showed up the next thing. The next thing it showed up is I was investing in myself and not enough in my people. Now, I'm going to share a number with you, and it's probably going to freak you out. And a lot of you may not even believe it if you're new in my world. But, this year alone, we'll probably end up investing about, I don't know, 350,000 in our own education between me, my partner, my wife, our team, my son. And some of you are like, that's absurd. But, when I look back and you guys tell me in the chat bar, I've invested now in my own training. It's not about me. I'm going to make a point on what I think you should think about. I've invested over 5 million in my own training. Now, 5 million sounds like a lot of money, but is it compared to 500 million? Tell me in the chat bar. 5 million to 500 million, it's nothing. Now, if I told you, give me 5 million and I'll give you 500 million, you would do what? Every single thing in your power. So the next thing I figured is that when you're a small company and want to grow fast, you should be investing about 20% into education. And education today, see, years ago it was different. I had partners in a lot of business. I have a partners, Aaron and my wife are partners in Food Dog together. We're all equal owners in Food Dog. And back throughout the ages, if you didn't want to feel alone anymore, you needed a partner, right? But now you have coaches and consultants and mentors and stuff. You don't need a partner if you don't want, because you could hire what we call a board of advisors. And most people, I'll give you the critical things I see today. And remember, like now it's got to be pushing thousands of company business owners I worked with. The first thing is they never build it in their budget to invest enough in training. That's number one. Number two, they do things without confirming that it makes sense. And in our world, we build a lot of companies and do a lot of things. And we have like this three-legged stool, Justin, right? One leg of the stool is, does it make sense to us? Do we think we should buy this thing, implement this thing, buy a tool, do this marketing? That's like one leg of the stool. The second leg of the stool is, what does our coaches think? Do they think it makes logical sense? Do they all agree? Now we have I'm losing track. I don't know if we have 6 or 7 coaches right now. We have a coach we're paying a lot of money just to teach us, Justin, how to write better. So if you look at all my emails that I feel are next level of what I'm writing, it's not because I woke up one day enlightened. I hired someone to make me better. Why? Because I believe if you want to be an Olympian, you have to pay people and you have to engage, right? And I'm a good engager, so I just need to have them give me action and I go to work on it. So that's the second part. Like it has to make sense to us. It has to make sense to the coach. The third one is it has to make sense in timing. Like is it the right time? Because a lot of people are doing right things at the wrong time. And if everybody agrees, but you do the right thing at the wrong time, the stool falls over. If you do it yourself, I get people all the time, they go to these big conventions and stuff, and they find a widget. They find an AI widget, a software thing, and immediately they bite on it. But they don't have the simplistic mastered. They didn't even master the basic of leadership. So bringing in a software system into a shitty leadership team, can you guys agree in the chat bar? That's a bad formula. No, it's a terrible formula to do, right? So I would say most people need to focus on a budget to implement for their growth, a budget, out of that budget, what percentage will be for their team. Now, I'm sharing this over now, creating, I feel like we've created a lot more decamillionaires than most people. They did the physical work. I didn't do the work. We just guided them. But if you look at the secret sauce, at least in my world over the last decade and a half or more, it's been the same thing. Get people to think different. They need a new way of thinking. You cannot give new skill sets with the same level of thinking. And if you think you know all the answers, you know no answers at all. And you keep circling the same struggle loop. But if you change your thinking and your program, and then you put new skill sets in, right? One of the most challenging things for smart people is to say to yourself, is that still smart? I have to check myself all the time. Like, okay, that used to be smart. That marketing vehicle used to be smart. That sales vehicle used to be smart. Is it still smart today? And I have to challenge my own belief system every single day. Every day I have to challenge it. And once you challenge it and you program your mind, which is never done, I haven't figured out how to be done with it because the world's constantly changing. So your thinking's changing. I mean, my kids are growing up. You think different about kids when they're babies than when they're 26 and 23, right? And then the last part is action. But even the world of action has changed. We are in a world, and I'm going to teach a whole section on business power next week on how to be a 24-hour organization. Now, some of you that scares like, how am I going to work 24 hours? No, I'm going to show you how to have your company run through the night while you sleep and help you build it faster and easier than ever. Now, you're going to have to adopt the thinking of it. You're going to have to learn the new skill sets and you're going to have to just take action on it. But I'm going to show you how to do it for pennies on the dollar. It's not a new thing for us. It's a thing we're doing for a long time, but we mastered a whole new level of it. We have people that when we wake up in the morning, there's projects done, graphics done, social media is done, email analytics are done, numbers, P&L analyzing is done. How many of you would like, tell me in the chat bar, that just like 70% of what you need to be done is done while you sleep? I mean, because the world's open, the world doesn't close when you go to bed. Someone's awake. You could order material. I don't care what industry you're in. You could order material. You could have PO orders. You could be sending out, collection letters. You could be sending out invoices through the night. Nobody, you know what, Justin? Nobody's ever woke up in the morning, opened up a company and said, what? Ariella sent this email at 3:30. I'm not reading it. No, you know what they said? This email came to me at 3:30 in the morning. I'm taking it serious. You're at the top of the pecking order. So when you know how to do this, right? I agree. I had a feeling you did that before. When you understand how to do this, everything changes. So Aaron, what I'd like to do is close a little loop here for everybody. Just to make sure we did a good job, I would love for you to go in the chat bar and just tell us one action item that you're going to do. So go through your notes real quick. All of you, even if you're on screen or off screen, long as you can, type in, here is the action item I'm going to do. For any of you new, please go tonight, fill out the scorecard. It's free right now. It will take you 10 minutes. It's going to make you think completely different. All right, so SOPs are a big hit. We'll tackle that next week. We'll make you a master in it. Matter of fact, we'll show you how to get SOPs done while you sleep. Okay. Scorecard SOP. Here's the action I'm doing. Is review systems. Beautiful. New commitment to brand and business brand. I love it, right? Yeah. And there are two brands. You got to have two strategies for each one. A brand for my personal brand. A strategy for my personal brand and a strategy for my business brand. And remember, the connected bridge is the what? Type it in the chat bar. Come on, students. The values bridge, right? The values bridge connects it. Ask and teach is that. Yep. Yeah. Is that it? Is this still smart, right? You have to ask yourself. Um, Someone asked me, Tim, they said to me the other day, they said, oh, I learned that strategy a long time ago, about 5 or 6 years ago from you. I went to a training, I learned that strategy. I said, throw it away. They said, why? It was great back then. I said, it's old today. It's 6 years old. The software system is old. The thinking is old. We didn't have AI back then. We didn't have anything like we had today. So everything has to be looked at with fresh lenses. And that's why, and I'm not bragging about us, I guess I'm bragging a little bit. That's why we're constantly able to keep winning, is because we keep changing and we don't stay the same. Okay. And I don't want you to do that anymore either. I'm not telling you about us, I'm telling you about you. So you do it. Okay. So you guys got amazing stuff here. Hey, if this was worth your time, could you just give a boom or some hearts in the chat bar? Food Dog, we're so honored to serve you guys. We're honored you're on here with us tonight. We have a lot more stuff coming the rest of this year and into 2026. And if we could serve you with either training, coaching, events, products, or any way we could serve you, you just reach out and let us know. Otherwise, boom. Have a great night, everybody, and go take your business, your life, and your wealth to the next level. Boom.